Dr. Acula, and I got a destroyed house over here, and it's really messed up. And so we're gonna try to fix it and everything else right here on the basics. Whoa, what's going on here? I don't think I made the point clear what I said what the basics was about. I just posted a video. Hope you guys liked it. The basics is more of a channel where you can start off with level 1 and then work your way up to other channels that do highlighting and everything. But my channel is essentially just basic stuff, and I really want you guys to explore that into knowing that you can do basic stuff. There are more advanced techniques of painting miniatures and doing terrain. Like I said, mine's just going to be basic, and then eventually you guys are going to graduate and leave me behind, and that's just how it's going to be. So yeah, so let's get started. Yes, I know, I'm sorry. This is a pre-built house, but when my friend gave it to me, I knew that I had to fix this up and doctor it up. It was his first one, so we're going to give him a pass. But he does love his ready board. And how much do you love your ready board?
Ready board is life.
Of course. So this is my build. This is how I'm going to try to fix it up. Throughout this whole time, I will be explaining some things within the whole issue of this whole situation. What I'm going to do is, it was breaking apart on me, so of course I had to reinforce it with some hot glue. If you don't have a hot glue gun, you can use regular PVA glue, school glue, but the thing is, drying time is going to be a little bit longer. I don't use super glue because super glue will kind of melt the foam off. Well, my friend did Stone Wolf Gaming, if you want to follow him. But yeah, he did a pretty good job for his first time, you know, for making this house. But I had to strip away everything because I wanted this to be original. I see where he was going to make some wood textures and everything. Pretty good, not too terrible. He may have outbeaten me. I have seen other stuff that he's built that he has improved a lot, and his stuff is really good. What I'm doing with this hot glue, he does have some extra hot glue, so I was just flattening it out right there. And so I decided to use some popsicle sticks for most of these for the frame. I wanted this to have a little weight on there, and so I'm going to go along around the house with just a bunch of popsicle sticks around the house. This build took me a long time, so I'm glad that I was able to finish this. But I didn't measure. On this one thing, so make sure you try to measure for everything around the house. Obviously, I missed a couple of spots. For stripping, I decided to make the window a little bit bigger than that. Make sure you have some sharp blades. Sharper blades mean sharper cuts, and you know, if you have a sharp blade, you will not cut yourself. For measuring for my window, I didn't really measure the window about what size, so I had to like guess it. So I just put it up against the window, see what size it was, kind of just had to guess on the size, and just to put in the frame for the window. I know I said I didn't. You shouldn't be using super glue. Well, this still had the paper on there, and so the paper went as melt onto the foam, but the paper will help protect it, and it will stay on. So try to avoid super glue as much as possible. At least if you're going to put it on foam, it will melt it, especially if you're going to put any smaller details onto this thing. Now I'm making the size for each door for a miniature. My perfect size is about 1.5 inches, and for the height, I try to at least go above most common miniatures, for at least for D&D and everything, is about 28 mil. I try to at least do a little bit more than that, just a couple more centimeters up, probably by like 35 to 30 mil, just to get that at least good height. I mean, you can make your door size of anything, because there are bigger miniatures out there, and if you want to like raise scale them to anything up higher or not, that's still pretty good. Right here, after it will not stick, so what I had to do is use the baking soda trick. And what the baking soda does onto super glue, it quickly bonds it, and it becomes like a really thick, it becomes like a cement glue. And for texturing, I didn't know what to do with this house. I could have just put on some textures, but then I remembered that I bought a bunch of rocks from the dollar store, and I decided to use hot glue and make the rocks stick on there. Great camera editing, right? So that was kind of my whole bond right there, and so far they worked pretty well. They stuck on there, and it looked like a cool looking texture. It really put a lot of weight onto the thing, onto the house, but I decided to do it around. I think what I should have done is probably just did the sides and probably had something else onto it. When I finished up, I did use Mod Podge just to make sure that they all stuck together and held together. It's kind of a perfect bonding thing. For me, it was kind of hard because when I was putting all the Mod Podge in, it was really cold outside, and it was like making drying times really harder. And here for the roof, I decided to use the rest of the popsicle sticks that I had, and it turned out it was a pretty much perfect fit, and I liked it a lot. So it made the house look pretty smooth and easy. I think I should have stuck them out a little bit more, but I wanted this house to make it look pretty modular for what I was. I did use a light gray onto the side of the house. Stupid me, I thought I pressed record, but I actually turned off the camera when I was doing some dry brushing. So, when I was doing the dry brushing, I added in some whites and some blacks, maybe a little bit more of a darker gray. I didn't really like how the color looked. Maybe it was just me for it, but that's how it turned out. This is some sprues that I extra had. I thought it was a perfect fit for the little circle he did inside the middle. I don't know what else to do with that. So I'm hitting it with some burnt, it's not burnt, but it's like some sienna. And I thought it would be some nice classic tavern-ish onto the roof. And then I decided to cover up all the whole thing. I did some light dry brushing on top of the roof. I wanted to make it look like it was an aged house. I felt pretty confident about what I was doing, and I was starting to like how it looked and everything. But then I got a little bit too ambitious, and I decided, you know what, I wanted to put some, at least like some mossiness in there. So I grabbed some of my green, I watered it down, and I tried to put it on there. And yeah, it did not turn out the way I wanted it. But then luckily, I remember, I got flocking. You can get flocking from any store you want. I know the Dollar Tree has some light flocking, or Walmart even has some peat moss and everything. All those stuffs works just as well as any other thing. Or if you want to go to your latest hobby store, I'm pretty sure they'll have some flocking. It's kind of expensive for as much as you get. It's about like $4, and you get I mean, it's decent, but it's pretty much for a person who, I don't know, for a person like who's cheap like me, it's pretty expensive. You try not to put that much on there, so. Also, I did put some flocking on top of the roof, and I just decided just to pour, and it turned out pretty nice, because it just stuck there, and I squirted it with my water, half glue. Now this is the part where you should always keep your miniature plastic, or your miniature, or just any plastic that comes off your toys or anything, because this is what you need to have, because this shows off some pretty cool stuff. If you cut it down into a nice big size window, and if you have the stuff where you have to fill in drywall holes, if you paint that black or a silver metallic, anything you like, and if you just slap that down on top of it, and if you just kind of angle it, boom, you got yourself one of those tavern looking windows. I like to put some super glue on top. It makes the window look blurry. It kind of gives that effect where, oh, they don't clean their windows. You can leave it clear if you like, or if you have like a clear glue, you can leave that also clear. Or if you want to pour some clear glue on there, just to keep if you just super glue it around the area, you won't really need it, because it'll just hold in there in place, and you'll have a clearer window. But I like to add the effect that, like, oh, it's a dingy window, nobody really cares, it's a window. And for doors, I decided to do the door last minute. I was going to have it open, but I decided just to keep these doors for last minute. I am doing scoring marks, so we can have that wood texture. And I'm using super glue. You can, like I said, you can use PVA glue. Super glue kind of works a little bit more faster. And as you do that, you can just paint it. I did do an additional scoring. I did cut it up. I did make it a little more jaggedy. I would make it look like one of those older doors. You can make it as nicer as cut. I like to think of most of my pieces uneven and stuff. I like to think it's more into the fantasy realm, where, yeah, they probably had, symmetrical shapes and everything. But in my fantasy realm, nothing's really that symmetrical. As long as it can keep out enemies out, boom, you're good to go. And here's me gluing onto the door.